I'm unsure in the order of which they will be solving, but I imagine it'll be Ryan going
I
first.
think Ryan will be going first here as the 16th seed in this competition. Ryan, of course, the current Square One world record holder of 341, I think.
Yeah, he is the first person to get 2 threes on Square One. And he had 2 threes before he ever got a 4 on Square One, which is downright hilarious. But he also
crazy.
has a 3 on 3x3. Quite an impressive all-rounder here. Who do you have in this matchup? Who do you think? They both had a tied average in the 3rd round coming into this. So who do you think's going to take it?
I feel like Brendan has fantastic pop-off moments in these finals. I mean, we've already seen this happen.
Yeah, he did.
Clock finals, all the other finals he's been doing. He's already used this pressure that he's been doing the entire day. So he's got to be in his element here. So starting off with Ryan Pilot's first solve.
The crowd is dead silent. You can hear him breathing.
I don't want to talk too loud so that they hear me, but we'll try and give as much commentary on this as possible.
Ready.
Alright, Ryan may be covering up the scramble or our overhead camera. He has 15 seconds to inspect the puzzle, plan out his first few moves.
It looks like a pretty straightforward yellow cross that he's going to be doing there. Nice transition to overload over there for Ryan. Sending it to 7:05.
First solve is 7.05 seconds.
Quite the fast time. It is faster than his average from semifinals, so definitely a good start. Now we're going to see Brendan Dunnigan. Brendan, an amazing all-rounder and still very new to cubing. Seeing this yellow cross.
That yellow cross does look pretty neat over here.
But he is exploring his options.
We're working on orange. Orange didn't look too bad either.
Ooh, quite locky. 8:32 for Brendan, but he's laughing it off. I'm pretty sure he's happy to be here. Being in 11 finals at this competition has got to take quite the toll on you.
I agree. Yeah, if you're not viable for that podium, I mean, he can still. I don't want to say he's out of contention, but at that point, you're really just happy to make it to finals on the big stage in front of everyone. So I'm sure he's just shaking it off. So
he does have 5 solves in his average, as do both of our competitors. The way that we grade averages is the best time and the worst time get removed from the average, and then we average the middle 3. So that time might not even matter to Brendan.
12.
Ryan starting off the second solve over here with a little bit of a blustering F2L OLO at 4.5, finishing PLO with a 656.
What a T-perm for Ryan Pilot.
So already improvement from his 3rd round average of 721.
And quite the packed audience here for 3x3 finals. We're going to see Brendan Dunnigan already. Let's see what Brendan sees. I do see some white pieces. Maybe look for a good cross, but he's going for yellow here. Insane turning. 549 for Brendan Dunnigan.
Nice job.
549.
He looks locked in, Brandon.
He's definitely bouncing back from this 8-second solve he had earlier. I was gonna say the white cross definitely had that flipped red edge in it, which usually doesn't lead to the best kind of crosses.
A Y perm with a U2 AUF, very fast from Brendan Dunnigan.
Ryan Pilot's 3rd solve on a pretty good streak so far.
Using every bit of inspection time that he is allowed.
Solving on yellow cross here with a little bit of an X cross. Doing an interesting M slice F12 into a
What
cheaper.
was that? I don't know if I've ever seen someone start an F2L pair with an M slice just to preserve or create edge orientation.
Usually those are used to force edge orientation there. So, but let's. Oh, I don't know if I have the best view since it's.
There we go. We have our mobile camera.
So usually, if you want to avoid dot cases and force a cross solution, there is a certain solution that you can use M slices for.
A bit of a lucky start, but going for the yellow cross again is Brendan. Does he know the ZBLL? Ooh, a 738 DNF. Unfortunately, since that is more than one move away from being solved, that is going to be a DNF penalty. A DNF, if a competitor receives one, is going to count as the worst solve in their average. That means that 832 that Brendan got now is counting. He got the ZBL at sub 5 and then just locked up. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Looks like he also forced the OLO, or rather he did F sexy F prime to get a ZBLO case in that certain situation.
Ryan's still on pace for a good average.
Looking at this force scramble here.
8 seconds. 12.
Ryan's only been solving on white and yellow, so I imagine those are the only two colors we look at. Oh, he skipped OLO right there for a 526.
I'm unsure about that timer start, but the judge says that's good. A 526 for Ryan Pilot.
Not bad. It definitely did look like he did some forced execution, forcing of the OLO skip over there.
A lot of
VLS or
competitors
something.
looking for a last layer with all edges oriented.
Oh.
Ooh, I am not sure of that timer stop. Brendan Dunnigan, 658. Still quite nervous after that DNF.
Looking at the solve right here. Not the best OLO over here. As in, the OLO case is kind of tricky over there. Let's see at Ryan's average. He has a BP best possible average of 607, which would put him comfortably in a solid position for this finals. Worst possible average of 667 as well. That's like not too bad either. 667 is insane.
12.
But a little bit of a pause after that first slot with an ELL.
That OLL, I know a lot of competitors predict their PLL from.
7 flat.
Yeah, what Zach said, you can actually, the standard algorithm for that OLO is only swapping 3 edges. So if you can predict where those edges are going to go by the end of doing the OLO, you can predict PLO.
A 665 average for Ryan. Quite fast.
Not a bad start for Ryan over here.
I'm going to see Brendan's 5th solve now.
And Brendan is unfortunately going to be counting that 832, so he can't outpace Ryan, unfortunately.
A little bit of a stutter on that start. Going for orange cross. 604. He does end it with a fast average. It is a 698 for Brendan Dunnigan. It is sub 7.
Nice job to both of these competitors for they were the finals, right? For Ryan for that 665 average. And we'll be moving on to the next competitors here.
Our next two we will have introduced, obviously. But we are going to be looking at Silas. Do you know how to say that last name? Bro? Alright, Silas Bro, as well as Tommy Cherry. We're going to pass it to Alyssa, though, with Ryan Pilot.
The scrambles, how did they look?
I think they were mostly pretty good, so I would expect a lot of pretty good times from other people. I was pretty happy about how good they were and how decent I did on them.
This is a major championship final. There's nothing like it. What did it feel like up there?
I was like a little bit nervous. My hands went completely numb on the last solve, but it was pretty nerve-wracking. But I've been in similar-ish situations, so I was okay.
Ryan, congratulations. An appearance in a North American Championship final. We're getting set for our next matchup.
Our 13th seed is a 19-year-old.
And
We're gonna
back
take it off to the production team for the walkout.
He is the blind world record holder and the Southeast champion in 3x3, Tommy Cherry.
Tommy Cherry now coming up to the stage if we're able to show that.
Right now as our 13th seed of this final. Tommy, of course, being known for blindfolded solving as well as clock, has snuck in a placement in this 3x3 finals.
He was our North American champion in 3x3 blindfolded, as well as the winner of the round.
Yes.
So that was quite nice to see. We are going to start with Silas, and then Tommy will be going second.
Let's see what these folks can pull off here. Silas starting his first solve. Actually, I don't
8 seconds.
think. Oh no, he is. I thought this was warm up key. Little pause there after the first slot. Bit of a pause there to recognize the pie case to extend it.
Yeah, maybe
Pie case there.
hoping that he knew the ZBLO
Yeah.
for this, but super fluid turning, I wouldn't be shocked if he's just trying to make sure that his solves look nice. Maybe
For
not
sure.
just because they're on camera, but because it's in front of a whole audience. Ooh, an N.
Yeah, unfortunately, that forced the diag swap on the corners. And generally, for those of you who don't know, the diagonal corner swap PLOs are a little bit trickier than the other ones. So generally, you want to avoid that
8
in
seconds.
PLO. Anyway, Tommy Cherry on his first solve.
12 seconds.
A little bit lucky, but going for a yellow cross.
Okay.
768, I believe that was a G-turn finish there for Tommy.
768.
Pretty standard solve. Bit of pauses here and there.
It is the first solve of a major final. I cannot blame Tommy for maybe being a little nervous. We can see all of his F2L pairs. Coming back to that red-blue pair. Maybe tripping up on that a little more than he was hoping. But quite a quick execution.
I think second guessing himself a bit about that G-perm execution.
8 seconds.
So starting a second solve over here.
12.
Oh,
Yellow
at 5
cross, but his
seconds.
cross isn't
but he
solved.
didn't do that.
He had two opposite corners swapped.
942. Silence.
Or two opposite cross edges swapped there.
Yeah, but still able to make a nice solve out of it. One thing I'm looking forward to seeing from Tommy Cherry, something that is maybe a historical or something common from him in head-to-head finals, whenever he gets a U-perm, he uses quite a fancy algorithm.
Oh yeah.
So
I believe we saw that when he was doing 4x4
8 seconds.
in the, I forget if it was the first or second round, but
12
he
seconds.
was doing that.
quite a quick F2L from Tommy. OLO.
Okay.
Quite a fast PLL. 643 from Tommy Cherry.
So Tommy taking this early lead in the average with a fantastic 6-second solve from him.
So we're going to watch that again. A white cross, a couple big regrips, and a little fumble onto that first pair. But Tommy's still being able to bring things back together. OLL into T-perm with no AUF, being completely solved after that algorithm.
Starting off Silas's third solve.
8
So
seconds.
Oh, I see a
12.
1x3 block on the white, but he's going to start with the yellow here.
Interesting.
Oh.
OLL Alg. 788 for Silas. I don't know if I've ever seen that Alg before, Brandon.
I think I've seen the Alg somewhere, but I personally do not use that one.
We'll get a replay of it, don't worry.
Yes.
Let's see that.
Nice 2-gen. Oh, there was an F and an S
What?
prime move.
It
at
looked
the
like he's
same
doing
time.
7 simul on that.
That's basically Simon on a 3x3 Zach. That's next level.
So we're going to see Tommy
8
Cherry
seconds.
here.
12 seconds.
Quite the hot start. Yellow cross again for Tommy. Bit of a pause before that blue-orange pair. Unsure of what PLO that was, but quite the slow stop. An 8.85 for Tommy Cherry. So we have a projected live ranking on the left of all of our solvers that have gone so far. Ryan Pilot, of course, in first with a 6.65 average. Brendan Dunnigan with 698. And currently we have the 2 solves that are counting for both of those competitors. The little number to the left shows how many solves they have remaining in their average.
Silas on his 4th solve. If I'm looking correctly, there looks like a
Ooh, everything looks quite solid.
edges oriented.
Z below 562 for Silas. A lot happier with that, he seems. I'd love to see his solution here on this.
Was this
ton-
rotationless as
A
well?
ton of edges oriented here.
Yeah, this solve was the F2L was rotationless
then-
with the ZB.
And then an 8-move Z below.
Oh,
Brandon.
that's the ice. That's the cherry on top. Sorry, no pun intended.
Tommy Cherry preparing for his 4th solve.
12 seconds.
Right, seeing here, going for a red cross. OLL into an A-perm 647.
The A perm was definitely a lot better than the third solve that you locked up a lot on.
Yeah, let's see a replay of this. Going for some big pauses in between F2L pairs, but there we go. Nice speed. Getting to OLL. I think that's the second time we've seen an OLL case this final.
That OLL traumatizes me every time I get in a solve. So
I
it's
quite
annoying.
like it.
Really?
I think
Okay.
it's fun.
Really? I'm always just it annoys me sometimes. Anyway, Silas on his last solve.
8 seconds.
Unfortunately, his best positive average is 734. Let's see what he can pull off. Not as smooth as the last solve. It's gonna. Oh, also ends with the
I'm not
all
sure. I'm not
corners
sure.
oriented.
I was gonna say, I'm
OLL.
not, yeah, that's the second time we've seen that OLL.
Yeah.
We've seen a ton of similarities here.
It's not uncommon.
That
But-
OLO is nice, is you are able to predict your PLO quite easily from it, especially all these top solvers I'm sure know how to. We did see quite the quick transition from Silas there into his PLO, that G-perm. We're going to take it over to Tommy on the blue stage, getting ready for
8
his
seconds.
5th and final solve.
12 seconds.
Little choppy there. And a Y-perm, 666 for Tommy Cherry. We aren't going to see that fancy U-perm algorithm, but we are going to see quite a fast average from Tommy. 694, bumping him up into 2nd place.
Right behind Ryan Pilot with a 665 average. Nice job to Tommy and Silas in this intense final. Tommy ending with the Y perm there to end with a 666.
Definitely quite an impressive showing from both of those competitors. Tommy, maybe a little exhausted from just competing in 3x3 blindfolded finals, still warming back up into using 3x3 with his eyes, probably.
Oh, for sure.
But second right now in the current standings, definitely an impressive average, sub-7. Still nothing to scoff at. I know it's maybe seen as not the fastest anymore, but sub-7 is still very impressive.
Yes, sub-7 in this intense finals is nothing to laugh at. It's pretty impressive that they're able to pull off these times
Absolutely.
in this kind of environment. Anyway, moving on to our next 2 seeds, we've got the battle of the Canadians
We have
in this next one.
we have Lynn versus Kyle Santucci. Brandon.
Hello.
Lynn, who are you rooting for here?
Oh, I gotta pick a side here. No.
You got to pick either Kyle or the one who you interviewed already.
Like,
right?
Kyle is fast, but I'm gonna root for my man Brennan. The guy that shares my name. So I gotta give it to him. He's the current Canadian NR holder and has been. I'm sure he's been wanting by for
There
this.
we go. Here's his walkout. Brennan, quite the competitor.
From Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, a 19-year-old who is the Canadian national record holder for 2x2 single and fourth in Canada for 3x3. Please welcome Kyle Santucci.
Kyle Santucci. I believe the highest seeded Canadian competitor in this final.
Yep.
But of course, number 2 is, right behind him and competing against him. So some stats on Brennan Lynn there, 2023 Canadian Championship winner. Just the judge talking to him, making sure Brennan's aware of how everything is going to work.
For sure.
Kyle Santucci finally taking his seat on the blue stage.
So I believe Brennan will be solving first in this final. He's already got his cube up.
Kyle Santucci, quite fast PRs, 593 average, 426 single. He is second in Canada for 3x3 single.
Brennan warming up with some random moves. I don't think that was anything specific, but starting with this first scramble.
So quite a good yellow cross, or at least a start to it here.
There seems to be something good with the blue-orange there. Exceptionally fast turning in the
but quite the slow rotation and lockup into that A-perm.
7-5-4.
7-5-4 for Brennan Lynn.
Let's see what Kyle has to say about this. But before that, let's see this replay that we got.
So opting for that green-orange pair first.
Doesn't end up using the blue-orange corner that's already connected to the cross piece. Maybe there wasn't anything very to do there.
Just a slow rotation and a lock there, costing him sub-7.
8 seconds.
Kyle Santucci, king of TPS, turning very fast every solve. Let's see what he's got.
Okay.
597.
Wow.
597.
I like that time. My current PR single, former PB single. Quite the fast start from Kyle Santucci.
For sure, and definitely answering in full force here.
So also going for yellow here, doing that green-orange pair first. And then the fast OLL into an R-perm.
With no AUF.
With
all,
no UF.
all those F2Ls, all those F2L pairs were extremely inefficient and could be just super ergonomic for what they were. So.
Yeah, Kyle definitely
And
known for his TPS, his turns per second. I can only imagine what he's going to get on all of the other scrambles.
Brennan starting his second solve of 3x3 finals. I don't recall this second solve being especially good, although there is a free pair on yellow that we're
8
seeing.
seconds.
But he might just be going for the white cross instead. White
12.
cross seems to be more promising here. Yep, he goes for white cross. A little bit of pause getting into the third pair, into all of 5. With
Soon into, I think, a J-perm.
with a J perm the other side.
7:15, still quite fast. Let's see what he does. Some fast TPS. Big pause there, though, may have cost him. Rotation into that. I do see anti-soon from a weird angle to force a J-perm with no AUF. Still quite some high turning from Brennan Lynn.
For sure. That initial X cross or whatever definitely seemed like it took a decent number of moves.
Let's see what Kyle can plan here. Maybe using that yellow free pair. But he might be opting for white instead.
Yeah.
Considering the position of that pair, it might be awkward to use.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle Santucci knows the ZBLL, 6.08 seconds.
608.
Yeah, opting for a white cross as well in that. Ooh, a little bit of a fumble there. I can only imagine the solve could have been even faster.
Oh, he did the ZBLL.
Yeah, he forced edge orientation to do that ZBLL. So a lot of these top solvers, they opt to orient all the edges on the top layer when they get to OLL. That way, they can solve it using an algorithm called a ZBLL. It's become very popular as of late to learn these algorithms, as they are quite short and could possibly be faster than just doing OLL and
Right in,
PLL.
flying through this third solve. Oh, with a dot OLL into another backwards J perm.
797 there for Brennan Lynn. Pretty good yellow cross there. Preservation of that pair into a 3-move pair, set up to a 3-move pair. This might be a very nice scramble if it weren't for that dot OLL.
The last layer really makes this a little bit unfortunate.
Cal Santucci is now starting inspection. Let's see, does he plan the same thing?
So Brennan solved
8 seconds.
yellow cross earlier. Looks like Cal Santucci is doing the same thing.
ITPS forcing another ZBLL. 684. Slow timer stop, but still sub 7 is incredible. He wanted to make sure that that layer was solved. Let's get a replay on this. And there we go, just excellent turning.
684.
Doing that last pair to make sure that he did not get a dot OLL, and then
I think
canceling into J-perm.
I think he tried to do a certain algorithm and then took back what he did before and then did something completely different from that. So that definitely cost him a little bit of
crazy
moves.
solving here.
Brennan starting his fourth solve. So looks like both of our solvers here are white-yellow color neutral, which means you'll only be solving a white or yellow cross. Solid start with some keyhole slotting in there. Easy, fast OLL into an 866 for Brennan.
I did see after that first pair and after cross, a lot of white edges were oriented. So let's see, similar to what we saw on one of the solves from the last pairing.
Not a bad free pair, but he had to do that Y2 in order. Oh, he used that to.
And then unorienting some of the edges there.
I'm actually confused because I thought he did keyhole there, but I believe he did that to take out the edge for that, or rather the corner for that specific F2L pair.
Gonna take it to Cal Santucci here for his fourth solve on pretty good pace.
8 seconds.
Quite high turning, there may be some slow. Ooh.
Okay.
649 for Cal Santucci, getting an H-burn for his PLL.
Guy with a pretty nice pace here with a range between 618 and 647 for his possible averages.
No matter what time Kyle Santucci gets on his last solve, he's going to cement himself into first place in our current rankings. Very choppy turning there from Kyle Santucci, but still knocking out a pretty good time.
Doesn't look like he double flicks that H per either and still managed to pull off a 649 solve. Not the best solve of his average, but still decent nonetheless. Brennan starting his final solve of this average.
8 seconds.
He's going to be sitting between Brendan and Silas in the placings, but let's see how he does on this last one. Oh, very big pause in the second slot.
And we saw that same OLL again.
Same OLO that makes it very easy to predict the PLO that comes right after that. And it's at a 771 average here.
It doesn't seem too thrown, but that does put him in 5th place currently.
Yeah, it looks like he wasn't able to see that orange-green pair in time, but ended up opting that instead.
And then that OLL into
I think that's the same
last layer as we saw with Silas.
Just the last one. I can't tell about the other ones, but that one.
Santucci starting his 5th solve, very fast turning.
Okay.
A nice 8-move OLL into a J-burn.
Getting close to that best possible average for him.
620 average. very fast from Santucci. That is going to put him first in our live rankings.
So if you take a look closely, he took advantage of that, I believe, the orange-blue free pair that was there, and really just just slotted the last cross piece in there, so freeing up some.
Could have been sub 6 there, but during the J-perm, he chose to do 2 U moves instead of a double flick there, which that little bit probably did cost him a sub 6 single. But again, an impressive showing again from Kyle Santucci and Brennan Lynn, our 2 Canadian representatives in our head-to-head finals.
For sure. Congrats to both of them, and congrats for Kyle for securing the first place spot for now in the rankings. But now we're going to move on to the 9th and 10th seeds of this finals, Brian Johnson and Samir Agrawal.
Both of these solvers are quite experienced in square one. Definitely.
Yeah, I know them both for square one.
Definitely not through sorry, we're not in square one finals, obviously, but they are quite the excellent 3x3 solvers. We're going to introduce them now.
Our 10th seed is a 19-year-old from Bellevue, Washington. He's the 2023 Washington 3x3 state champ and the square one world champion. Please welcome Samir Agrawal. Our 9th seed is a 24-year-old from Germantown, Wisconsin. He is 4th in the United States for one-hand average, and he has a Wisconsin state record. Please welcome Brian Johnson.
All right. Brian and Samir
We are
getting
now
up to
going-
the stage now.
Now bringing these 2 solvers to you. Our 9th and 10th seeds, Samir Agrawal, 581 PR average and 447 PR single and 3x3. Definitely a very impressive 3x3 solver.
Again, as we
Some-
mentioned
some
before.
fanfare in the audience.
Yep, as we mentioned before, Samir and Brian, we know them for square one. So it's the battle of the square oneers here. And how are they going to do in a slightly different event, 3x3?
Samir taking up all of his warm-up time that he needs to be ready for this solve.
Samir inspecting his first solve right now.
Maybe
8 seconds.
choosing that yellow cross that we were seeing earlier.
12.
Really quick, does he know the ZBL? 641 for Samir.
Still quite an impressive solve.
Looking to convert that OLO into a ZBLO for better execution. You can see he does do an X cross on orange-blue.
James.
And then interesting
Pretty
that
fast execution there from Samir.
I'm not sure what the heuristics they've used for doing ZBLO instead of the regular OLOs.
8 seconds.
I'm not sure, but we're going to see Brian Johnson here. 574 PR average, 461 PR single. Big pause there on that last pair. OLO, J-perm for PLO. 807 for Brian Johnson. He's smiling though. He's happy to be in this final.
And warming down with that square one. A bit messy from him, unfortunately.
But he knows he still has 4 more solves, so he's not worrying about it.
A lot of rotations also in this F2L solution. Ends with a J-perm, but yeah, the F2L solution looked pretty full of rotations, unfortunately. Samir on his second solve. So, from the
8
previous
seconds.
competitors, I think they've been solving white.
12.
Samir opting to go for yellow this time.
Very
Finishing
fast
F2L really closely.
Hey,
Twisting a
corner
corner
twist.
and also doing the wrong PLO.
684 for Samir Agrawal. That
684.
corner twist. That corner twist
Yeah, that was
definitely
cool.
ruining his
Okay, okay.
OLO there, but quite the fast F2L from Samir.
Oh,
A
and
little bit of a lockup there, and then I think he realized that he has a twisted corner. Fixing it mid-out. Oh, nope, right after completing OLO.
Oh, he did the PLO wrong. Still ended up with the 684.
8 seconds.
Gonna see Brian Johnson here. Upping for a yellow cross on scramble 2. Fast F12. Oh,
there we go.
Brian Johnson.
First,
Let's get a replay on that.
that's the first 4 we've seen this finals, right?
The first 4 only took us to our one of our 8 competitors.
Let's
Let's
take a
see.
look at this.
Congrats.
Quite fast.
I don't need any more
Super
for
easy OLLs.
Also
We see
rotationless into an anti-soon.
Anti-soon T-perm UAUF 474 for Brian Johnson.
Super clean for Brian. Not much lockups either. So just clean solve all around.
Incredibly fast.
Samir on the third solve of his average.
12.
Oh, Samir also going through F12 really quickly. Does he do the CBL? No, but he does do the COLL to end with a 650.
650, still quite fast from Samir, on pace for top 7. Looking at our live rankings, we have Brian Johnson in 2nd, Samir Agrawal in 3rd. Both competitors on pace for some good averages. Let's see. Oh, just doing a standard pi out into a G-perm, I believe, not COLL. Gonna see Brian Johnson.
Thanks for the correction, Zach.
Of course, inspecting his 3rd solve.
8 seconds.
Looking to go for a yellow cross. Let's see what he does. Bit of a pause there on F2L. Knows the ZB 6.
Was that a soon CB?
I think it was. Obviously, it's a little hard to follow up a 4.
A soon CB or just doing this regular soon AUG. I believe he had a he had a free pair in the back. Oh, he ends up doing that. Okay.
He didn't realize he had it and then went ahead and did it, forcing.
Oh,
it was a soon ZB, but he did edge orientation and then choosing to do the soon.
Yep.
And take it to Samir now.
Samir's fourth solve.
8 seconds.
Probably looking to opt to do yellow here.
Which he does.
That is insanely fast F2L, but very lucky on the OLO. Into a U-perm, very
759.
Very unfortunate.
He's laughing it off.
It's okay.
Let's see if we can find out what happened here for Samir.
Oh, he missed a turn on that OLO, and he's just trying to reverse engineer his way out of that. Does so successfully, but also locks up on the U-perm.
Ryan Johnson coming in for his 4th solve.
Again with that free pair on yellow.
Opting for a red cross here. Oh, a little skip.
Oh,
554. You would have seen a counting for Ryan Johnson if it weren't for that.
That could have been like PR single.
Yeah,
He's
what?
saying it could have been a PR single. That is unfortunate to see. I am reacting the same as Brian right now. Let's see a replay of that. Choosing to do. I believe this is a different solve. This is the incorrect solve from Brian.
Yeah, this is not the solve.
This is another his last solve actually. He chose to do a red cross there. Got an OLL skip. Crowd needing to calm down, being a potential distraction.
Samir warming up with his first install. So Samir's times ended up a best possible average of 658.
Let's see what he sees here.
8 seconds. 12.
Is that the same exact solution we've seen on the fifth solve again for the last
Let's
layer?
see the replay. Is that the same exact last layer we have seen on the last 3 competitors from the red stage?
I think so too. They're just gonna
Opting
do
for
that
yellow
last.
cross?
Yeah, and I think the same exact F2L solution too, because I recognize that the
and
F2L
then-
solution,
And then there's the G-perm.
the G-perm.
I think we have seen 3 of the exact same solutions on Scramble
Everyone else on
5.
the stage.
All in yellow cross, all with this very
Yeah,
similar
Judge even
F2L.
commenting on it. Brian Johnson going in for his 5th solve. Opting for orange cross. COLL 7
7-2-0. Please give a big round of applause for Ryan and Samir.
648 for Brian, 658 for Samir.
Pretty solid
Thanks for
averages from both.
All right.
we are going to hand off the casting to Kevin Hayes and Keaton Ellis for our top 8 3x3 seeds. As you can hear, we're halfway.
Give him such a nice round of applause. Walker Welch on stage. Local hero Walker Welch on stage. Okay.
We are back. I'm Keaton Ellis.
I'm Kevin Hayes.
We have the top 8 seeds for you guys. It has been an incredible first 8 seeds in our finals. We've seen a 4, we've seen a couple of almost 4s, and we can see some of these scrambles are looking pretty good.
Yeah.
That 4th scramble, both red and yellow are looking good. So
Yeah, we had a chance to check that one out in detail. Keaton, our man inside, yellow and red. We're excited to see what these top guys are going to get on it.
we're moving over to walkouts.
Please welcome Christopher Sun. Our 7th seed is a 23-year-old all the way from Seoul, South Korea. He is the Asian record holder at 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, and 7x7, and he won 2 bronze medals at the World Championship 2023. Please welcome Sun and Sunuk Nam.
All right, we have our next 2 seeds walking in right now.
Chris Sun from the Mid-Atlantic region has a decent amount of experience and also is having a monster of a competition.
Oh
today.
my goodness. He's gotten best times in basically every single event he has competed in, as well as the huge accomplishment of sitting right in this seat right now.
Absolutely. Chris getting 3rd place on the North American podium for 5x5, which is incredible given the competition that we have here.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, as you saw in the graphic, Eternal Northeast champion, won the last Northeast championship before we switched regions to New England and Mid-Atlantic. He's got a 5 average, of course, and we're going to see him go first here on the red stage.
Let's get ready for his first solve now. Ooh, rough start for Chris, 8.2.
It's also a little unlucky with the F-perm there.
Yeah, we're in a position now where we're already saying that's the worst solve of the average if we want to make any waves at the end of this final.
All right.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right, our other competitor, Santucci Nam from South Korea. He has had a up and down competition. I don't think he's been too pleased with his results, but he has still been top 4 in all of the events that are in the 4x4 through 7x7 events.
8 seconds.
Swing Up 9 is color neutral, one of the people to switch after Worlds 2017.
Very smooth. It's been a little long time AUFing before deciding on his OLL and PLL execution there. Really cost him a lot.
Yeah, and that's an A-perm from a very awkward angle as well. Some competitors have been doing RUD A-perms, which is essentially just beginner last layer on Megaminx in order to get a slower alg, but less slow AUF in that case.
Chris has got to be, you really just got to forget that first solve even existed. as we can see on the live rankings, 8 average is going to put you already out of the top 8. Oh, wow.
That's a good solve.
Oh, why permit? Oh, he was on a good pace, but that PL at the end there, the Y perm, we saw there he had to undo a couple of the moves. It looked like an accidental S move, which had to be undone. It cost him a few extra seconds, or 1 extra second, which is an eternity in this event.
Also, doesn't do the alternative out for that OLL. Yeah, there goes the wide F essentially.
Oh. Yeah, we talked to Nam this weekend, and despite having a 6x6 world record, being really more highly ranked in big cubes, he still says 3x3 is his favorite event and the one he practices the most. So, and the one he says that he gets the most nervous for. 695, not the worst start, but if he wants to be a podium threat, he's gonna, and he wants to count that, he's gonna need some low 5s. Oh, locked. Nam's turning style is very consistent, very smooth. He's now known as one of the competitors with the prettiest turning. However, the downside to that is his TPS isn't quite as fast, usually counteracted by the absolutely 0 lockups, but in this final we've seen a couple lockups, and that's just not something you can afford when you're turning at his speed.
Yeah, that's an OLL that has a lot of R2s where you're doing big wrist turns, and so there's a lot of possibility for a lockup in that, just because of how much you're doing turning. Corner twist in the middle of an end perm. It's extremely unfortunate for Christopher Sun.
Yeah.
He had to essentially completely take his right hand off of the cube in order to fix it.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of execution errors on these last layers. F2Ls have been relatively smooth, which is interesting considering that's the more complicated part of the solve.
That's a very interesting choice for that last 2 pairs. He did have 1 pair ready and lined up in the position that it should be and opted to go and do a rotation for a 3rd pair instead. I wonder if that decision cost him some time. Sunghyuk on scramble 3 looking at yellow here.
8 seconds.
A lot of blocks here to work with, but he's going to need to start getting into the low 6 range at the very least here. A much smoother. Nice. Even then, he finished F2L at a low 3 and didn't have the hardest OLL PLO. It just, I feel like he needs to get needs to get those moves out a little faster at the end.
Yeah, these are okay OLLs, and an F perm is a below average PLO in terms of speed.
Wasn't that T?
It was F.
Oh, that was F?
It was
oh,
F.
Sorry. I apologize to Nam. It was a respectable PLO execution then.
Are you ready?
Chris Arizona is going to be looking at yellow here, and he does.
8.
Yeah, this is the solve that we're looking at, yellow or red across.
12.
Yeah, yellow, wow. Right, 5.8.
5.82.
This does seem to be the solve that has the easiest start. People are getting good times in this one. Hopefully, Nam is not out of contention for a very strong average. He's looking in the best realistic case though at a low 6.
Let me know when you're ready.
Which is probably enough to make top 3, but the guys coming up all are capable of 5 averages.
Be interesting to see whether or not he goes for red or whether or not he goes for yellow on the solve. He's looking at red.
8 seconds.
It's fast.
All right. Everyone with the good solve 4. Kind of a nice spot for that easier scramble, you know. Little jitters after solve 3. It's like, oh man, we got to get locked in the last 2 and a nice easy solve there.
Yeah, it helps the WPA as well. 669 in this case for Sunghyuk. He does have 6.25 best possible for him as well.
Unfortunately, best possible, he cannot win as Kyle Santucci with a 6.20. Nam has been eliminated from winning the competition.
This is good F2L.
All
Bit
right.
of an unlucky set of PLOs for Chris Sun there. 6:05 with the GC perm, but flawless execution to be able to get a decent final couple solves.
Yeah, a pretty solid end to an otherwise unfortunate average for him. 681 is a respectable showing in an international final. However, I know he was gonna, as a top 8 seed, he's coming in with a bit higher expectations.
Let me
for
know when you're
himself.
ready.
Yeah, and his PR average of 5.97.
If Nam wants any chance to be on this podium, he needs to get the best possible average right here. 6.25 would only be second right now, and there are 6 people left. Honestly, even with the best possible, it would be looking slim. However, there's always a chance if you get on the top 2.
Eight seconds. 12 seconds.
Oh. Looked like a mistake during F2L. Maybe you can see on the replay, I think he might have done 5 pairs.
That's worst possible average for Sunuk Nam with a 669. He's out of contention already in 5th place after 10.
And what do you think the odds are that many of these next guys go over 6'6"?
So Dominic Ricci, one of our next seeds, this guy has had one heck of a competition. He has a 5.8 average officially, but today, in these past couple days, 6.8, 6.0, 6.3. This is some of the better solving he's been doing recently.
Yeah, we've been looking
he's
at
peaking
it
at the right time.
Oh, absolutely. We've been looking at his results recently. He's been more low 7, some high 6s. That 5.8 was a while ago, and it looked a little kind of out of the blue. You get one of those crazy averages, and then you work. If that kind of happens, you get that lucky average. You kind of work them to get more consistent and get your times back into that range. And it looks like this is the competition where it's starting to happen.
Yeah, so far so good for Dominic Ricci. But we're going to have to see with this next average of his.
Yeah, and who's our other competitor coming up? It's Dominic and
Matty,
Hiroto, Inaba, the current defending champion at North American Champs.
Yeah, Matty Hiroto Inaba from Hawaii getting a 639 average in that 3rd round. Previously, he had 2 5.9 averages, and if you go take his last 13 averages, 11 of them have been sub-6.
Yeah, he definitely is not. I'm certain he was extremely annoyed with the 6-3 in the semifinal round. He wasn't happy with his 5.9s either.
Right.
His standards are much higher than that. He is the defending champion. I specifically remember NAC last time. It was his first super big major. He was the massive favorite. Max Park wasn't there. He said he safetied the first solve, and that kind of threw him off, and he did poorly, and then was like, you know what? Nah, I got this.
Right.
And then just basically was like, I kind of mentally made mental mistakes in the first solve, but I only need 4 to win, and he only needed 4 to win.
Absolutely. Here today, that 639 in that 3rd round should also be discounted a little bit by how difficult those scrambles were. A 7-2 is all you needed in order to make finals in this case. They weren't the best.
They weren't the best, and people did not execute the best.
Correct.
There was a lot of nerves in semifinals. You could see on people's faces. We mentioned before, 6.9 was 16th in round 1,
Right.
6.6 was 16th in round 2.
And 7.2 this morning.
That's a big difference. Even for nerves, that indicates a huge difference. 0.6 in a round for a top 16 is wild.
Absolutely. We're going to be moving on to our walkouts right now for our 2 competitors.
Please welcome Matty, Hiroto, Inaba. Our 5th seed is a 15-year-old from Mount Juliet, Tennessee. He has the Tennessee state record in 3x3 and is the dispute North American champion. Please welcome Dominic Ricci.
Dominic, as mentioned, is also the skewed North American champion from earlier today.
Got a 1.53 average in the 2nd round, which is 2nd in the world just behind Carter Kukala. And then in the 3rd round, got a 1.99 average to clutch that win. So he's coming off of a high from that skewed performance. Matty, of course, also doing fairly well this competition in terms of results.
Oh, absolutely. He's third place NA in 6x6, which is an event he doesn't even focus on too much.
Right.
7x7 he competed in. I don't think he was too upset with that. Fourth place in 5x5, which I think he was hoping for more, but it's kind of an event that he hasn't quite broken into yet. He's kind of sitting on that precipice, but third behind Tymon, Max, and Nam is nothing to be annoyed with. And then third place in 4x4.
Right. Plenty of North American championships under his belt. Plenty of podiums as well.
Yeah, I think the most notable result so far is that he beat Nam in 4x4, which is, like you said, that Nam, Tymon, Max trio. It's a pretty hard arena to enter.
Right.
And he's done it.
They're the statistical favorites for sure when it comes to these events. Matty right now on Scramble 1, looking at yellow.
Matty's our first competitor we've seen so far that's really in that super top tier.
Again, a little unlucky with that last layer with that GC permit looked like.
Yeah, he's not. It's a rough start when you start with the solve that you can't count if you want to win. But as we said last year at North American Champs, Matty started off poor and pulled it back. Or 2 years ago at North American Champs.
It wasn't a GC, it was a lefty R perm right there. There's an R, U, R prime, F prime alg that has two U2s essentially back to back. So you need to have perfect execution on that, and there was just a little bit of a lapse there on that solve.
8 seconds.
Wow. Oh, really? Rough execution on what looked like otherwise a lot of nice cases and easy solve.
That last layer in particular, you can see a pair right there showing up in for F12, but that last layer, extremely nice. You have a 6-move OLL into an H perm, so you can recognize the CP and then also the exact case while you're doing your OLL. That's a fairly...
Yeah, I think at home, most competitors are doing that entire sequence in about 1.7, maybe faster. Matty, for reference, 2 years ago at North American Champs, led out with a 745, ended with a 562 average. So he is no stranger to a bad start at this specific competition.
Yeah, and 664, it's not the best start, but it is also not a horrible start for him.
It is fast enough to where he can count it. He is capable of multiple low fives, and he can count that in a 5-second average.
Absolutely. Matty looking at yellow here. This is decent.
650.
Again, in that mid-6 range for Matty, that means the 6.50 is going to count for him at this point.
He's starting to dig himself a little bit of a hole. It's not that deep right now, but he's going to need to start climbing out of that thing if he wants to get on the top of this podium.
That's an extremely unfortunate set of last layer cases. Again, below average luck for Matty. He has the lefty W OLL into an F perm. There's just a lot of moves that you need to do.
Oh. Interesting that in that UK ZBLL, you just do standard OLL PLL.
Just do the 9-mover. If you're in a high-pressure situation and you're feeling especially nervous, one of the things that can help is to simply just do the easy case, especially if you can see it while you're finishing your pair there.
And doing anything fancy that you're not comfortable with is a recipe for disaster when the stress is at its highest.
Right.
Ready?
One of our future competitors, Max Park, clearly exemplifies. Having the fundamentals nailed down is sufficient to be able to have world-class times.
8. Very smooth solving here. Very nice. That's the solving we know from Matty, Hiroto, Inaba.
I couldn't tell when one step ended and the next step began.
And that is what we're used to from him, the smoothness of the entire solve just flowing together. We'll see it right now.
Pair.
Nice keyhole.
Matty doing some edge orientation there in order to get an easier OLL.
Absolutely no pauses between the last pair and the end of the solve.
A little nod in order to acknowledge the applause from the crowd there.
So you know what's coming up?
Scramble 4.
Scramble 4.
Dominic does white in this case, so he must be a white-only solver.
All right, 6.0. He's gonna, if he wants to be on a podium, he's gonna need some magic. We do have Scramble 4 coming up, which has been notably easy, but it's gonna be an uphill battle for Dominic.
Yeah. You see Brennan Dunan in the crowd right there mouthing, that's a good time.
I think.
So very happy for Dominic in that case.
Matty is someone on this solve we almost could expect more from.
Yeah.
Which is wild to say.
A very unfortunate GC perm there again for Matty. Doing great execution up until that last layer, and then just the number of moves dictating that time in that case.
Small fumble on the second pair, but nothing that costs more than a 10th in that case.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, just tons of moves.
Yeah, just a brutal, just even with the good execution, it's one of the slowest options.
8 seconds.
All right, Dominic is happy with a 6-1. I think that indicates I don't think he had an expectation of himself to gain top 3. He just wanted to show what he's capable of, get a quality average in the final, and he's certainly capable of that with a BPA of 6.52.
Yeah, of course. And accounting 6, especially for a competitor with a single 5 average, it's not a bad time.
Right. And Matty here, BPA here, would put him in contention. This is a 5.78 BPA is a podium potential slot for sure. And very likely, I'd say. However, 5.78 and 6.32 are miles apart for this final, so. CPLL.
6.25
All
for
right.
Matty.
Right in the middle there, 6.19 average.
That is going to put him just ahead of Kyle Santucci, which is an important barrier to pass, especially as we're coming to our fastest 4 solvers here.
I think we missed the, we had the graphic of exactly what he needed to get to overtake first, and he hit that to the T. We're a big fan of that graphic. Thank you, production. And we'll keep that updated as we get that final solve to determine the winner going forward.
8 seconds.
All right, so 6.19. Dominic, unfortunately, wrapping up with his worst solve. 7.29 in the final. Honestly, I'm happy for him. He seems happy to be here. He seems to be having a good time, and we love to see that.
That's a great performance from Dominic right there, and great sportsmanship. Matty taking a nice picture with James Hildreth on that 625.
Thank you.
Currently in first place. It is going to be tough for that to win.
Yeah.
We're going to see how it stacks up on the podium, and we are actually going to soon throw it down to a Matty interview. He's standing on deck. I'm looking at the third round results right now. 6.19 would have gotten fourth, just behind Luke Garrett at 6.10. So we are, Alyssa's standing by right now, and we are going to go send it down to her on the floor.
We are here with Matty, Hiroto, and Inaba, who just put down a 6.19 average, putting you into the first spot. What did that feel like, Matty?
It wasn't terrible, you know. Obviously, it could have been better, but I feel comfortable with that. You know, I tried my best, and that final solve was pretty funny, so yeah.
I was going to say you got a legendary time on that last solve. Any of the scrambles standing out to you as we see our top competitors coming just now?
Expect big things from number 3. That was a good one.
Yeah. Awesome. This is Matty. We're going to our top competitors now.
All right. Thank you, Alyssa. We will be standing by watching Matty as he watches his own destiny unfold in front of him. We have the next walkouts coming up. Luke Griesser just watched on the stage. Interesting similarities between these two competitors.
Yeah, both Luke G's, both of them extremely popular in this region. They're both from not the Heartlands, but the Great Lakes region, which is right next door to these guys. Luke, of course, very well known for his 3x3 solving, but is very much so an all-rounder.
Yeah, he's
Luke Garrett, I mean.
He's a small event all-rounder, essentially. He competes in almost everything. I'm looking at his results page right now. I think he's done like 100 solves just this competition.
Right. Luke Griesser is almost the exact opposite, focuses almost exclusively on 3x3, intentionally did not do the second round of 4x4 or one-handed in order to focus on 3x3 as his main event for the day.
Indeed, he is absolutely all in, and so it looks like it is paying off. He has been doing extremely well this competition. 5.72 first round, 5.74 second round, 6.31 third round. Third place, fourth place.
These guys have gone against each other multiple times in online competitions over cubing at home. They both had a ton of maturity in their cubing prowess over that time, both from cubing at home and from Monkey League. So these guys should know quite a bit about each other's solve styles and what's good and what's not.
They are very familiar with pressure, and they are very familiar competing against each other as well.
Luke staying on white top green front for a while, doing a Y2 at the very end. OLL and then R perm with okay execution. 6.69 is not the type of solve that he's looking for.
I also think his reaction indicated he's like 6.69, you're right, but it's not so bad that he can't count it. He's one of those guys who can get multiple low fives.
It's a little unfortunate for Luke right there. He did end up breaking up a 3-move pair that was put together already, which he could have been he could have saved with a lefty sledge. Luke Garrett also focusing on yellow with the same top blue front that Luke Griesser did. Also breaking up the pair in the same way with the exact same solution.
The exact same solution.
6-8-6.
Yeah, Luke Garrett's had a bit of a roller coaster of a competition. He's very up, very down. Notably got 41st in the second round of 3x3 with a 7.57 average before getting third in the last round to put himself right here.
So that's the important round to be able to focus up and get a good time. So for Luke Garrett, that's not the worst outcome. I'd rather get 41st and third than the other way around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, notably also didn't perform quite as well as you would have hoped in one-handed or 2x2, but I guarantee that if he gets a good average here, all of that will be instantly forgotten.
Exactly. Luke Griesser now taking a look. He's got red top, yellow front, most likely going for a yellow cross in this situation. Primarily does white yellow. Very good execution so far.
So lucky,
6-1-8.
He said it.
Agree. He thinks it's a 6.18.
They want you to take your backpack off the table. That's what the green team's saying.
Luke leaning very far over his solve. So we're going to get a side cam angle here. Does have an RUDG perm, which does lock up a little bit. 6.1 is counting.
Yeah, these two competitors also, we are now, I think these top 4 guys, they're not happy just to be here. They have expectations of getting top 3, and they will be disappointed if they don't. And obviously with 4 of them, that is not going to be true for every single competitor.
Exactly. Luke looking
12
at blue
seconds.
here. Very long inspection period.
Wow.
Big pause for second pair. Oh, and he does mess up the cross in that situation. So, incredible TPS after that point to try to make up for things, but as you can see him leaning back, he instantly knows that that solve is more or less over. At this level, you cannot have mistakes.
Yeah, and we're counting a 6.8. They're not aware that the winning time right now is only 6.19.
Yeah.
These guys very easily are capable of counting a 6.86 and a 6.1 average, but I think they're probably thinking that they're going to need a 5-second average to win or even get on the top 3, and 6.86 is a rough start. Yeah, we're looking at Luke Garrett's cam, and he's already not pleased. He seems a little dejected, which you got to pick yourself up because you're only 2 solves in. It's by no means over. Oh, man.
You can see Luke Griesser shaking a little bit there.
It is a mental battle as much as it is a physical one.
8. Looking at yellow again on this solve.
Wow.
excellent turn speed at the start. Does do a pseudo pair there. Looks like he has a decent number of edges muted already. And that's an excellent 529 for counting 6.18 and a great ceiling for him.
Wow. I mean, honestly, I was a little concerned for him with that. He seemed extremely nervous before the solve, but did an extremely good job of just resetting himself.
Look at
He said
that
he was ready.
pseudo pair.
Let me know when you're ready.
Excellent execution on that ZBLL as well.
All the sophistication you can hope for in a solve. Luke Griesser. Luke Garrett now.
8 seconds.
The two Luke Cheeser. You can screen me out.
12 seconds.
Yellow's also looking good for him in that same angle. Does not do any pseudo pairs, but gets a nice soon into apron last layer for a 6.3.
Certainly salvageable. They have solve 4 coming up. Has been very fast historically. It's just Luke Garrett is giving himself just enough to hang on with this third solve, and he's going to need to really dig deep on these last 2.
Absolutely.
Luke Griesser, on the other hand, is now in a fantastic position. His counting solve is faster than the winning time, and he has a 5.29.
Mentally focusing before the solve, competitors have 1 minute in order to indicate that they're ready after the cue has been put in front of them. Trying to calm those hands. They don't look like they're shaking too much right now.
It's very interesting.
Eight. 12.
He does white in this case, does not go for yellow or red.
Very interesting.
He thinks that he did a turn in inspection.
A turn during inspection.
Yeah, we heard that. We could hear the slight turn during inspection on the stream.
I
wasn't sure whether or not it was a full turn or not.
To DNF, actually.
Yeah.
A turn during inspection.
I completely missed it, to be honest.
I missed it
Probably
too.
right when I was trying
I
to
could
mark
only
for
hear
12.
the turn, but I wasn't sure whether or not it was going to be a full turn.
Yeah, you froze.
Whether,
and I was like, "What is it? Something is up with this." I thought you might have like identified a misscramble.
Luke looking at red.
Wow.
Extremely fast.
Wow. There it is.
That's the fastest solve of the finals so
Fast
far.
solve 4.51.
And Luke doing the encore for the crowd right there. There's a big smile on his face after what, up until that point, had been a fairly disappointing average for him. Let's take a look at the slow-mo here. Great first pair. Only one rotation. F inverse sexy into lefty R perm right there.
Not an easy out to execute either.
Top speed does a U2 prime with his left hand.
See that BPA on the screen?
589, but a WPA of 774. Luke has a very wide range, and it all comes down to the last solve.
Absolutely. I think production's working on getting us the exact time he needs to overtake first. Luke Griesser, 567, very doable.
Taking a long time for inspection again. There is that yellow cross that he's focusing on. That was a decent set of pairs right there. And he does it.
Let's go, Luke.
5.45 for Luke Griesser. That's going to put him in first place
For now.
6.11 average going into
just
last solve in the top 2 solvers.
He just been told he's first. Is "Are you serious?" reaction, but it might not last for more than a couple minutes. If Luke Garrett does not beat him, he's guaranteed top 3.
Excellent execution there. Flawless last layer going from a good flower OLL into the G perm in the back. Very fast RUD execution.
I'm ready.
He's also guaranteed top 3 NA.
Luke Garrett right now focusing on the exact same scramble. Immediately looks at orange and hasn't changed
8 seconds.
Color that he's looking at. Does a couple of G2s in order to get that cross oriented right now. This is a decent solve with the J-perm at the end. 9-2 I don't think is going to be enough for Luke.
636. He's out.
He's going to be in 4th place. That means Luke Griesser is guaranteed a podium with 6.11. And he's guaranteed at least second in NA, and Matty is guaranteed at least third in NA.
Absolutely. This is an exciting moment. I mean, Luke Griesser was overjoyed just to learn that he was in first with 3 people left, and Luke Garrett able to overtake him. If he's going to be someone whose reactions we want to see, he can only go up from here, and he's already elated. This is going to be a very exciting last set of 2.
Absolutely. Luke Griesser, of course.
All right, we have a very exciting interview. Alyssa's with Luke Griesser right now. He is extremely happy, and we're going to pass it down to her.
We just saw Luke Griesser get into the first position at North American Championship. You are guaranteed a podium. You are in the first position right now with a 6'11" average. How are you feeling?
I feel great. Wow. Guaranteed podium is like otherworldly. Oh my gosh.
I see the emotion. I see a lot going. So much prep goes into this. Describe this moment?
Unreal. Like that 5'4" to just clinch it. Like, dude, I feel great. Shout out to Clicky Studios for putting me 9th in finals predictions. I had you in mind.
We are headed into our final 2 seeds for 3x3. Don't go anywhere. We are going to see some electric solving.
All right, we are going to keep an eye on Luke. He's going to be keeping an eye on these top 2 competitors because we have the 2 big dogs coming on right now.
Max Park and Tymon Kolasinski, these are your top 2 seeds coming into this competition. They are the 2 competitors with sub-5 averages officially.
They're the 2 competitors that are the favorites.
Yes.
I think if you asked anyone, it's these 2. Far and away, they're the most consistent. They are the most decorated. They are no stranger to this type of event. They are both top seeds at World Championships last year, and we're both on the podium as well.
Absolutely. Tymon has taken the #1 spot in all 3 rounds of this competition. Max is not far behind. Was second in the first 2 rounds, has a 5.3, 5.8, and 5.6 today. And so these guys are extreme favorites.
What is somehow amazing is that Max Park has set the world record in the 5x5 average, the 6x6 average, and the 7x7 single at this competition. And somehow I think Tymon has had a better competition.
Yeah, 2 continental records for 4x4 and 5x5 in those final rounds.
And he won.
Giving him the win over Max in those 2.
Like, I don't know how he does it. He's unstoppable. All right, and 4-7, 5-3, 5-0, first. All 3 rounds of 3x3, and we are about to see.
Yep.
We're going to see it right here.
Max taking a look at what seems to be blue this solve.
8.
He does do blue. F in for sexy last layer.
Yeah. Great start for Max. He might be the only competitor that's actually started really strong on the first solve.
Right, the only other one, Kyle Santucci, in our first 2 with a 5.97, but Max currently with the best time on the first solve of 5.69.
Indeed. The third best solve is 6.4. Yeah, everyone kind of dug themselves a mental and time-based hole.
Tymon right now.
8 seconds.
Looking at yellow, different cross color than Max here. Does do yellow.
Oh. The kid is so good. He made a mistake. He had made a huge mistake and got a 4.9.
Locking up on the last 2 turns of that solve, still with the 4.92. An incredible solution from Tymon right here. Flawless execution. Does the U-perm plus U2 and locks up on that last U right there with the back of the right ring finger. Extremely unfortunate stuff for Tymon.
I mean, as unfortunate as you can get when you're still getting a 4.9 second solve.
Right. From a personal best perspective, that's an incredibly tough thing to swallow for him. But from a North American Championship perspective, 4.92 is exactly what you want.
He's well in front. Yeah, literally a flawless solve except for that one mistake.
Yeah.
8.
Max right now looking at blue again.
Wow.
Decent solve for Max. A little bit unlucky with the wipe. I guess a wipe perm is not too bad for a dyad case right there.
I don't think he's very happy with that.
Yeah. That's a That means this 569 is a counting time.
As we can see here, there's a reason why these two are the huge favorites. They have already distanced themselves from the field in just one and a half, 3 total solves.
Right. Tymon right now inspecting for his second solve right now. Also looking at the same cross color as Max. They had different ones on the first solve. Little hard with the D moves for Tymon right there. Bring it back.
Oh my god.
8-9-4.
It's going to widen the range for Tymon quite a bit.
Indeed. I would say the joke is that you get a really good solve, you get a really bad solve, you have a mean of 3 coming up, but we know Tymon can get another solve under 4.9.
Absolutely. He's shown it so far with that first time, even with the slight mishap. And there are some decent scrambles coming up ahead. These guys have almost polar opposite solving styles.
Oh, indeed. Max Park is the most simple you can be. Just be simple, don't make mistakes, turn fast.
Yeah.
8.
Really mastering all the fundamentals of cubing and executing them
12.
to the highest degree.
Wow, consistency at its finest.
You can see it right there as well. Max, the standard OLL and PLL last layer, the same things that a 25 or 30-second solver would be able to do, but just putting on a master class in how to do it with no pauses and more or less flawless execution.
He has a chance to lock up NA champion on solve 4.
Yeah.
That is amazing. He's I have a feeling he's going to do it.
Yeah, anything essentially under a 7-second solve, and he's going to be
8 seconds.
He's going to be North American champion.
The real question is, can he beat Tymon?
Tymon on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, an incredibly sophisticated solve. You can see him doing lots of D moves during that solve, which means he's doing what's called pseudo slotting, aka doing F2L pairs with the edge and the corner from different colors, but still solving 2 pieces at a time. Also benefiting from a very fortunate last layer right there. That is not a bad OLL if you can execute it well, and he is able to see that it's going to be a J-perm, which is a very favorable case.
Yeah, that OLL PLL combo is extremely easy to recognize, and he had a no AUF directly into it, which allowed him. It still takes a tremendous amount of skill to execute at that speed, but he absolutely nailed it. We certainly have a race.
Yeah, and this is the 4th solve as well. Max is looking, changing cross color,
8.
Changing to red, it looks like, or potentially blue. Does do red.
Oh my.
5-0-9.
Like you said, Keaton, red was quite easy.
That is more or less my favorite time to get on a 3x3. Max with an incredible solution right here, and it didn't look like he had a very good last layer case. If I saw that correctly, he had an end perm.
Also, the big story right now, Max Park is your North American champion. It is guaranteed. His worst possible average is 5.69.
Which is incredible, and he has a solve to go to be able to lower it even further.
Yeah, the race versus Tymon is still on.
Tymon also looking at red in this case.
Oh my.
Both of them.
Oh my goodness. All right, we are going to guarantee get the scenario we want. The winner will be decided on the last solve. It is guaranteed because Tymon's best possible is 4.8 and worst possible is 6.3.
And no matter what, Max Park is going to have a mid-5 average, which means it all depends on Tymon's last solve.
Production, can we please make sure to have a quick response time for what Tymon's going to need to win as soon as Max Park's last solve goes in? Oh my, this is it. Max Park, no matter what happens, cannot lock up the win and cannot lock up the loss. He's the picture of consistency in this average with that the 5.09 is the only solve that's a little bit extra fast.
Of course, he can always make it harder for Tymon with a
Absolutely.
better solve.
8.
Flying through this solve right now, but a little unlucky with the GC at the end. Max opting to go with the RUD out from the back. A 6.11 is still a very respectable time, and Max is going to lock up worst possible average in this case with 5.69.
Indeed, his Tymon only needs a 7.06 to win. That is all but guaranteed for him. He posted a YouTube video of getting like 35 sub-6s in a row. But also, I mean, he does have that 8. And this is a major final. Anything can happen.
Relative to other cubers, though, Tymon does extremely well under pressure.
Oh,
he
yes.
loves the crowd.
Remember, 7.06.
You do seem shaken a little bit right now.
Oh, my.
That's a good last layer.
Oh, my. The man is unstoppable.
Tymon Kolasinski got a 490 at North American All-Stars on Tuesday. Sunday, 5 days later, gets a 4.94 average. He was first in every single round of 3x3, and he's going to take home the win at North American Championships.
Congratulations to Tymon. Also, the average of all 4 rounds is under 5 seconds in this competition.
Unbelievable. 479, 538, 502, 494. Tymon has put on a master class of solving here for 3x3 over these 4 rounds. His worst time across all of these, a 6.27. Other than the 8.94. We forget about that one. You can drop the best and drop the worst here.
Oh, my goodness. Honestly, he took first place in all 4 rounds of 3x3, upset Max in 4x4, upset Max in 5x5. This is, last year at Worlds, I said it was one of the most impressive competitions I've ever seen, and this might be more impressive.
Yes. Winning Worlds last year required a 5.3. Tymon, of course, here today with a 4.94 average.
That is monumental. He won by a massive margin, 0.75 over second place.
First time he had a lockup on the last U.
Yeah, you're
could
correct.
have been better.
I mean, okay, we could play the coulda, shoulda, woulda game for years,
right,
but
this guy
we don't
is
need to. It was
by pressure like other people have been.
The thing with Tymon
loves it.
The thing with Tymon is you can play the coulda, shoulda, woulda game, but it doesn't matter because he already won.
Yeah, he did it.
It doesn't matter. All right, so Tymon has been jumping for joy all over the place. He's calmed down just enough to talk to Alyssa, and we are going to throw it down to her for the winner's interview.
We just saw a mind-blowing performance in North American Championship final. Tymon, I feel like I've been talking to you all day. This is your 3rd sub-5 average this week. What was that?
Wait, what was my average?
Yeah, no, what did it look like? It was 494.
Oh my God. I didn't even know if it was up 5 or not because I was just so locked in. After that 8, I was like, okay, just think one solve at a time. I always try to do that, but this time I was like, okay, I have an 8. If I think about the 8, it's over. So just lock in one solve at a time and hope for the best. And so, I guess it was the best.
7 sub-5 averages in your career. You have just laid them down over and over and over again. Walk us through which of those solves felt kind of the most fluid, and what did you feel? Which solve felt the best?
I think the last one, obviously, because I just felt that I won, even though I didn't know other people's times. But with that good of a solves except the 8, I kind of knew that there's a very, very low likelihood someone would beat that. But yeah, I mean, I've just been practicing so much, and this is my first actual major win because Euros wasn't real. Patrick beat me. I've been trying so hard to do this for so long, it just feels unbelievable.
You come into North American Championship, you win. Obviously, this is not your championship. Your championship is coming up in 4 days. Give us a little preview.
I mean, just going to try to do the same I did here, but, I'll be jet lagged. I'll be tired after this. We'll see how it goes. I just hope to get a podium or something.
Speaking humbly, I know you are not hoping just for a podium. You are hoping to win there. You have won here. Tymon, congratulations. We will send it back to the booth.
All right, we are back. Congratulations, as Alyssa said, to Tymon. I also am with her. I think Tymon's sights are on a little higher than just a single podium next weekend.
Especially, he does not have Max Park as his competition next week in Euros.
There's not to say there's a lack of competition in Euros.
Absolutely. But Tymon, of course, doing extremely well in all of the events that he participated in this competition. 3x3, 4x4, 5x5.
6x6 and 7x7. 6x6 was his only weaker event. He did get 3rd behind Nam, and it was an average that wasn't quite so good for him. But I think we can give him a pass, given the rest of his insanely impressive results.
Yeah, he's within a quarter of a second of his PR average, doing so in front of a crowd of over 1,000 people here at North American Championships. Just incredible stuff. And congratulations to the rest of our podium as well.
Indeed. We need to recognize the North American champion, Max Park. Congratulations. Luke Griesser in second place, and Matty, Hiroto, Inaba, while not defending his title, managed to sneak onto the podium in third.
Staying on the podium in a field like this is incredible, and being able to do that multiple years or multiple competitions in a row is incredibly impressive.
Indeed, especially for these Continental Championships where only every 2 years, stringing those together requires domination over a long period of time, which is very hard to keep up. I think next we're going to try and get some interviews. I know Luke Griesser will be extremely happy with his results. We could probably get him in for a longer form interview. I think it's probably a good idea. I don't know what production's thinking exactly. There's not much. I think we're all hoping to hear from this weekend's champions and what they're thinking and how they're gonna, what their plans are, what they're thinking. We're actually gonna cut to a quick break, and do not go anywhere because we will be back very soon with more reactions and award ceremony as well.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you soon.